Hey, thanks for checking out Andrew's Tactical. So today we're going to be talking about grip and how it's changed throughout the history from the grip of a revolver, cylinder shooter, to a striker-fired pistol. And hey, what works for me may not for you, and that's fine. There's a million ways to send an accurate shot down range. So these are just things that work for me. Like I said, you can use them, tweak them. I'd love to hear your opinions down in the comments. I'm not a licensed firearms instructor. I'm not an expert by any means. I am a gun enthusiast, and I have had law enforcement training. And again, this is the industry I work in. So this is what works for me. It may not for you. I'm always trying to adapt. I'm always trying to learn new things. So comment down below. If your grip isn't solid, there's nothing else that's really going to matter. Your accuracy, your recoil control, all of that starts at the grip. If your grip is inconsistent, your results are going to be inconsistent. So with grip, I wanted to touch base on some of the older grip styles that have been still seen today. Back in the day, especially with revolvers and cylinder shooters, there's the grip called the cup and saucer or pan and saucer grip. You will still see this today. Striker-fired pistols were not introduced until kind of the late 80s. Glock then came out with their striker-fired pistol. So a lot of the training that had taken place with cylinder shooters and revolvers didn't quite adapt to striker-fired pistols. So the trainers that knew what they knew when it came to the cylinders and revolvers, they tried to just say, I know my training and this is what's going to carry over to striker-fired pistols. And that really wasn't the case. It's not their fault, it's just what they've known all their life. And so what I mean by cup and saucer or pan and saucer is I have a cylinder shooter here, 357 Smith & Wesson. As you can see, no round in the chamber, so we are clear. I have visually and physically inspected. We are safe. So they would have, or your pan, and then your hand is going to be your cup or your saucer. So this here with revolvers, the recoil is coming straight out of the barrel, whereas striker-fired pistols, that recoil is pushed back with the guide rod and spring, having some of that force going rearward. This goes more upward. So as that revolver comes up with the recoil, how do we mitigate that? That recoil is moving downward in this fashion. So they had the cup, pan, and saucer here to mitigate that muzzle flip and muzzle rise. With striker-fired pistols, and I'll get into in a minute, is we have this grip here. You cannot have this grip on a revolver, one, because the gas is going to be escaping through this cylinder slightly. So this has the potential to injure or blow your thumb off. So you want to be very careful. So that adjustment needs to be made down here, and they have adjusted from pan and saucer to a little bit more over your fingers here and getting a good grip. But this is where you would need to be for a revolver to be safe and effective. Now, the cup and pan saucer, or the low grip on the revolvers, that what they knew, this doesn't really translate well to modern day striker-fired pistols, which I'll explain here very soon. But you want to be careful with these revolvers as far as this is the grip we need to adjust for when shooting these cylinder shooters. You want to be careful of the gas as well as the muzzle. Flip and recoil is much different than a striker-fired pistol. A lot of times what you'll see is that exact grip transferred to newer striker-fired pistols. And what I mean by that is you will see a lot of this. You will see a lot of this. With modern-day striker-fired pistols, the grip that works and is meant for is you want to be high up on this beaver tail is what I call it. You want to make sure you are high and tight on this to where as that gun recoils, it has minimal distance to give you muzzle flip. If I am down here, this gun will give me a lot of muzzle flip in this direction because there's all this open space. You want to make sure you are high and tight on this beaver tail, as high as tight as possible. Now, with that training that took place and a lot of people not knowing the carryover from the pan and saucer grip, it's all they knew, they had grips like this. Now, with these striker-fired pistols, energy travels to the path of least resistance. So all this open space is going to be moving, and if my gun is moving, I'm not able to find my shots quickly. I'm not able to control it. You're more along for the ride rather than you controlling the ride. Now, with that grip also, you are going to take your other 4 fingers and wrap around your 3 amigos here and grip and have your thumbs line up like this. God made this amazing indention in our thumbs specifically for firearms, if you did not know. I take my support hand and I lock it forward, and right there, that groove that God made just lines up perfectly. So now I have my thumbs in line, and a lot of firearms will even have a little bit of texture or a grip on the side for that support hand. That is what that is made for, is for your support thumb to come up and have the grip to where, as this pistol is trying to come up, my left hand and my support hand, right hand for left-handed shooters, is keeping that muzzle downward. It is not letting my muzzle get away from me. Now, this will take work to get used to, of finding the support hand and driving this left wrist forward and locking it forward. Some people find that it takes reps. It takes a lot of time, so do your dry fire. Now, they do make amazing tools to help with this. This is what's called a gas pedal. So this is actually specifically designed for your support hand. So again, as I lock my thumb forward, I match up here. I have a gas pedal that I can rest and press my thumb down to mitigate that muzzle flip. I'll have a link down in the description below where you can get some of these gas pedals. The only problem is certain holsters may not work with it, but they do make it for multiple different firearms. I'll have a link below. Now, also, this grip will help with a lot more things as far as getting on target quicker. And what I mean by that is, regardless if I have a firearm in my hand, I can tell you to aim at a specific target, and you can naturally point your thumbs in the direction of what I'm telling you to aim at. Now, you might not be right on, but you are relatively going to be in that area. So the idea of having this grip with it is, if your thumbs are pointing toward that target, your natural point of aim is there, and it makes it that much easier to find your sights and have that shot and that follow-up shot. Another thing that I do that you will see is, when I grip, my master grip thumb is always sky high, as I like to call it. If I'm in a CQB situation, or I'm really trying to get my speed and I am just trying to get my shot off quickly, I don't want my thumb to get trapped in this position, because there's a lot of mobility in the gun and I don't have very good control of it. So when I grip and grab my gun, whether it be out of the holster or just grab my gun to get a good master grip, I always have that thumb sky high. So that way I know I'm not going to get in the way with that grip. Now that we have a good support grip, this is where you want about 60 to 70% grip pressure on your support hand rather than your master. So with your master grip, you don't want to over grip, because then we're going to start getting shaky. If I over grip with my master hand, you'll see I will start getting the shakes. This is where your support hand will take about 60 to 70% of the pressure, allowing your master grip to relax and have smooth trigger pull and have a good feeling to where that recoil is going to be coming back into my body. If you do not have a proper grip, if we find ourselves slipping down and allowing that muzzle to raise, you will have multiple problems as far as sight alignment, sight picture. You will not have control of your gun, as well as the pistol will not cycle correctly. So if what we call limp wristing it, if I have a limp wrist and I'm allowing this gun to take me for a ride rather than controlling it myself, this could cause malfunctions as far as the slide not being able to properly send its mass force back forward to chamber the next round and give you a failure to feed malfunction. Another thing that I like to think about or envision whenever I have a good master and support grip is not locking out my elbows. This will fatigue me faster. I like to have a slight bend in my elbows, and I almost envision me peeling out the bottom of the mag well. I'm peeling it like a banana. I'm kind of locking my wrists down like a vice grip. I'm kind of locking it in, and it feels comfortable to me and allows me to have control of my firearm. Always keep in mind, treat every firearm as if it's loaded, finger always off the trigger until you're ready to fire, and never aim at something unless you're willing to destroy it. When you do practice your grip and your dry fire drills, always visually and physically inspect that there's no round in the chamber and your mag well is empty. Again, this is just stuff that works for me and tips that I picked up along the way from my former training and being in the industry. May work for me, it may not for you. I'd love to hear different perspectives on it, what grips work for you. I'm always trying to improve, I'm always trying to learn. Stay safe, stay smart, stay vigilant. And if you like these videos, please let me know down in the comments. I'd love to do some deeper dives on shouldering rifles properly, holster work, transition work. Please let me know what you'd like to see in the future. Again, this is all funded by me, so your support means the world. It allows me to keep doing these videos for you. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on it and what you'd like to see from me. And if you could, please like, subscribe, go to my Facebook page, Instagram at Andrews Tactical. All that support means the world, and we'll see you guys on the next one.